Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside the ballpark to the Noved Notes podcast, where we talk to many different creators and communities inside the platform. I'm your host, and with me today on episode 85, I've already messed up the intro, it's fine. On episode 85, we have, my landlord when it comes to this venue of this podcast. We have the Multimedia-artist, we have xCirrex. xCirrex, welcome to the podcast, hope you're doing well.
Thank you for having me. It's about time. 80 how many? 86.
85. Yeah, this will be 85.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm happy to be on. It's very exciting.
Yeah, no. Well, thank you for joining me today. Well, first and foremost, as we ask all of our guests here on the Noved Notes, what kind of got you started into VRChat in the first place?
Ooh. It was back when I lived in Edinburgh around 2017 or something like that, when the original Vive was released. I bought that headset and it was expensive and clunky. So I decided to do something with it. I opened up Unity. I didn't code anything, but I tried out the Steam VR stuff, the little SDK they had, and managed to make something very simple that you control by just clicking buttons on the keyboard. And I showed that off to different architects of projects we were working on using SketchUp as my renderer. And it was really fun. And then VRChat happened, the Uganda Knuckles and all that. So I started playing this game, and it was like, I can build things. And Unity can also do SketchUp, and I know SketchUp in and out. So I'll just started making stuff. And from there, it's just been a continuous flow of ideas and spaces that I wanted to create, and eventually games, which is where I am now.
No, fair. And yeah, so, obviously there's a bunch of stuff. Oh, go ahead.
I assume to answer the question more what got me into it. There was something I had a thought, but it escaped me. So my go on.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, obviously there's a ton of different worlds you've created over the years of being in VR. But before we get into all, the amazing experiences you've made, you've also done, music production and other types of content creation too before you started doing, VR. So out of curiosity, what kind of got you into what inspired you to make music in the first place?
Oh, I think I've had a little bit of music in my life since I was before I could walk, basically. Apparently, this is stories from my parents, so I can't confirm it. But my grandmother taught me to play one of these baby pianos things, to play Little Lamb or something, and eventually I played it better than her. And that's the earliest time they remember me touching a piano keyboard thing. And then since then, I've just always had one or two keyboards or whatever close to me. In 2006 or 2004 maybe, I got my hands on a pirated version of Fruity Loops. Don't worry, I bought the full version now. I'm grown up. Don't come for me. And I started to just self-teach myself how that project or program works. At the same time, I went to music school, high school music, where I learned the basic things of music theory, and I did drumming most back then because I hadn't done drumming. I always wanted to. It wasn't for me though. So I stuck with the keyboards and pianos, and then the digital music production started after that, I think. Just as a way to put my feelings away somewhere and keep it there, so I don't have to bother with it anymore. Actually, a thing from my therapist that was put your feelings in art. If you don't like them, just put them there, and then you can keep them there, and you don't have to worry about it later. You can visit them later, of course you can, but you don't have to worry about it. And that was the best advice I've gotten my whole life, I think. Put all the things that you don't want in something else in a project.
No, absolutely. And definitely a lot of projects that you've done over the years. So, I mean, hey, there's always, something for people to look forward to. And one of the things that, you know, a lot of people don't know, you know, when you started way long ago, I believe it was 17 years ago, roughly, you made many different, you know, YouTube videos before, you know, the whole VR, you know, including, you know, some memes, some shit posts, you know, as well as Dota 2 raps. So out of curiosity, out of curiosity, what kind of made you want to make Dota 2 inspired like raps and stuff?
Oh wow! I think wow, dude. Epic rap battles of history was very popular in my life back then, and Dota 2 was like the game that I was playing like constantly. And I noticed there are so many voice lines in there, and there was this wiki page with all the different voice lines between them, and I saw they talk to each other as well. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a beat and make a Dota rap battle, and that blew up. So I made like 10 more, and those also kind of blew up. And like every now and then when I'm playing Dota, someone recognized my name from that time. It's crazy. Like there are so many people who did hear that who have no idea what I'm doing today. So yeah, just curiosity, and I mean it was fan art, right? It was fan art for Valve and Dota. I loved the game. I love the game. So that's that's the core from that, I guess. Wow, you really dug.
Hey, as I said before we start recording, I did the Inner Nardwar for episode 85. I know it's been a month hiatus for the podcast, and I do apologize for anybody that's been waiting patiently for the episode. With Squad Forever Fest and HorrorCon, everything just kind of took a back burner for a little bit. But hey, we're back. We're not stopping. You know, we're continuing it, and we got a lot of amazing guests coming up in the next couple episodes that I'm very happy to have on, including you. Like, we finally made this happen. I'm very glad we got to make this happen. But kind of to continue on, you know, obviously, you know, one of the memes that you are very notorious for, and a lot of people actually don't know. I've actually asked a few of my friends if they knew that you're the one that created it, and they're like, "No, wait, did he really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And you actually have it playing on the video player in this world often. But the Forever Spinning Go-Kart Kid meme. Obviously, you didn't make the song, but you put the video together. But fun fact, as I was doing research on it, did you know that are you familiar with Game Theory, like the channel Game Theory, like Matt Pat and them?
Yes, I think I am.
So
it rings a bell.
Yeah, like,
oh, no.
Well, hello, Internet, and welcome to Game Theory. Funny enough, he actually reacted to it live on one of his streams, and I actually do have the clip. Way. Yeah, I do have the clip. I found it, so I'll send it to you after we're done. But I did find he was laughing. Yeah. He was laughing the entire time.
Dude, that video taught me one thing in life, and that is to put my watermark on things I make. Everyone has seen this video. Everyone. Well, I can't say they stole it, because that's what I did as well. I stole everything and like put it together in After Effects in, I think, one night in Edinburgh. Like, I saw the original video. I told my flatmate, "Hey, I'm not sleeping tonight. I'm making a thing." And he was like, "What are you making?" And I just showed him the first like compositions, and he was like, "I get it. I'll see you tomorrow." And then next day, like when I posted it, it instantly blew up on Reddit, and it instantly blew up on Imgur, to the point where, like, I think a week later, it was on television as well in the UK where I lived at the time. And I got linked that from my friends who saw it at like during the night and was like, "Holy shit, you were on TV!" And they put credit on the video, like my name was down there. xCirrex 2 was the channel name back then. But nothing else than that. And then they made their own shitty ripoff of the video themselves as well. It's like, you know. And then, of course, it's been reposted a billion times on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere. And nobody kind of knows I made it. But I have the files. I have the After Effects project still. I am the true creator.
Yeah, I mean, that was back before you titled that xCirrex Media. It was actually xCirrex 2 was the channel name.
Yeah, xCirrex 2. xCirrex was my Dota 2 raps, which I was like, "Oh, I'm getting something with this. I want to do shitposts. I should make that on a separate channel." and now it's like flipped. So my second channel is what I'm doing mainly. And if I would post on like the original series, like the people who are subscribed to me there who would expect something like that from me now would be very weirded out of what I'm doing today, I think, compared to those things. I mean, I guess I could make a deadlock rap battle. Who knows? Keep the spirit up.
Just post in like 7 years or something like that.
Yeah. Oh my god,
we're back, baby. Like,
yeah. Oh shit.
But actually, funny enough, even like before those videos, just to go even further back down the timeline, you actually did, and I love the music choices when I was watching these, but you actually did some speed paints in Microsoft Paint.
Oh yeah. Damn. Also, way back, like those were the first things I put on YouTube. I had a CRT computer screen, 4:3 resolution, a shitty mouse, a shitty computer, and just a screen recorder that like took a frame every 4 seconds or so. When I did the speed paints, and I'm not sure like if I misremember things or not, but those videos also like blew up. Because YouTube was fresh, there were only a few things of them back then. I got so many messages like accusing me of using a bot to like paint for me, and I was like, dude, if I would have made a bot back then that could paint these things, I would be more proud of that bot than I would be of the paintings themselves. I would talk about the bot. But no, that was just me like mastering the line tool in the original MS Paint. Dude, that's the best tool that was ever made for any like graphics program ever. Draw one line and then 2 points to like put it in place. That's it. You can't touch it anymore. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, no, those videos, yeah, they have a lot of memories to them.
Absolutely. And it definitely shows, like, when it comes to you being a multimedia artist, it shows for real that you are doing many different types of media besides just,
Yeah.
VR creation and music creation. I thought it was really cool. I know not a lot of people know that, but, little fun fact for those that don't know.
That's crazy.
Because obviously, we're here in, your pub world, here in VRChat, and there's also a lot of great memories and stuff, and there'll be some camera footage flying around the world and stuff, showing off all the stuff. A lot of good memories, from, your tournaments, from your New Year's, having your poster at New Year's. And also, one of your films, you made a VRChat a short film,
Oh yeah.
It's like you've done a lot of crazy work. So I guess that brings, one of the questions, obviously, because obviously when it comes to your media and stuff, a lot of it is your personal interpretation of whatever it is, whether it's music or games or whatever. So when it comes to creating, what exactly is like a motivator for you? What motivates you to create things?
Actually, a question that never got asked before. Wow. What motivates me? I think when I don't have anything to do and I'm kind of stagnant, I get very anxious. Like I feel like I have to have something to do, which is not healthy in many terms. Like that's leading to burnout, something that I haven't experienced yet somehow. But kind of this summer, I learned to allow myself to be bored. I went out camping a few times with myself, left the phone at home, and just put up like a camp, made a fire, made some food, just to not do anything for like a night, which is great. I recommend it. But the source of my creation is like I have an idea, and I'm like, I can visualize it, therefore I can do it. And then I just start working on it, and until some form of it is like visible. And then I go, I like it, I will continue on it, or I don't like it, I will move on to something else. If I'm not happy doing what I'm doing as a hobby, then what's the point of having a hobby? What's the point of making it if I'm not enjoying it, basically? So yeah, the source is just either fever dreams or shower thoughts, honestly.
That's fair. And obviously, a lot of creators are different, so that's why I always ask, because everybody has their own different take when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And not to mention people from around the world also have different takes when it comes to that. So, and with us,
Yes,
with VRChat being such an international platform, it's the perfect place to ask these type of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of to go back into, not funnier topics, but more down the timeline a little bit. Because obviously, you're now on Bandcamp. You have all your music out on Bandcamp now. Things stretching from some of your newest stuff to some things as early like 2010s. So I guess one of the questions I want to ask, because obviously you've made so much music when it comes to your stuff, whether it's game world OSTs or albums, etc. Is there one or maybe a few of your songs that kind of hold a dear place in your heart when it comes like your music in general?
Again, especially the songs that were made before VRChat, they were all emotionally driven. Most of the time, me feeling kind of bad or stressed out or whatever. So I take them and put it into music. That's my coping mechanism to like store it there. So a lot of those old songs are generally, I mean, they are grounding for what I'm making today as well. Very gnarly, kind of angry music in general. Some of them has their beautiful moments, when I had my few relationships of love in life and whatever, they make it in there as well. 100%. Everything. All ups and downs. But there are a few songs that do mean more to me than others. But it doesn't really matter what I think. It's up to the listener, I think, to enjoy the songs. But all of them has a special place for me. It's hard for me to have a favorite that I can be like, it's the best song I've ever made. Unless, of course, I would mention the Verdiglam or whatever you would pronounce it. That song means a lot to me because it's like grounded so much of what I do in VRChat in a way. Like, yeah, I it's hard to explain.
Oh, that's fair.
They all have meaning, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously we talked about like kind of what inspired you and what started you into music and, VR and content creation. So what kind of got you wanting to make worlds here inside of VRChat and experiences inside of VRChat?
Generally, I tried it out and I realized that I can make something in one day and then bam, invite my friends in there and they can stand in my world that I made. Compare that to the contrast of my day job, which is a architectural lighting designer, where I can spend years on a project, making drawings, making calculations of how lights will be, selecting what fixtures go where. And sometimes at most all I get from that is like a photo, like 2 years down the line. Oh, you made this. Thanks. In VR, it's instant. No, I'm in the world. I'm in my creation. I can see it. I can almost lick all the surfaces in here, right? not really, but there is that instant like computer kind of feedback to it. Like you get it right indirect or directly in front of you, which is a really nice feeling when you're working on things for years and years and years and years, and maybe you see a photo versus, hey, come into my world that I made today. Let's check it out.
Yeah, instead of like instantaneous like gratification when it comes to
yeah.
We could just do this right here, right now. We don't have to wait forever. Yeah, no, totally
exactly.
Respectful.
Totally and I have full creative control as well, which is also something I miss sometimes at work. Jesus Christ, man.
No, I believe it. Yeah, I mean, the list kind of goes on and on when it comes to the creative spirit when it comes to VRChat. So obviously, kind of to go into that a little bit because there's definitely a lot of amazing, worlds and experiences you've created over here, from, chill worlds like, One Shot City, to Swamp, to, Swamp Island. Like there's a lot
Mhm.
of chill worlds. So what kind of made you, there's a lot of worlds. Forewarning, this is going to be there's going to be a lot of footage on the screen. I'm putting in the extra work for this one. But like, what kind of made you want to create these like chill aesthetic worlds? Like, what was kind of the inspiration behind it?
I think back then they were made in SDK2, which was just Trigger System SDK, right? So there were no rooms for doing games back then. But I always had ideas for games that I wanted to make, but that was not the time, and I just experimented with building things in SketchUp, putting lighting in virtual space because it's my job in real life, and like experimenting with different patterns or palettes. I mean, it was just a hobby time thing that felt nice to do. And again, you could sit down and chill in it yourself during the evenings after work and chat with friends from all over the globe. So yeah, it was like everything else that I do, just something to keep myself busy, and whatever idea I have when I dream or have a shower, put it into a project and start working on it.
No, fair. And obviously, if I recall correctly, Neon City was actually your first one that you made. I don't remember if that one's...
Yeah.
Is that one public, or is that one just unlisted? I don't remember. Big shrug.
No, it's public. It's even upgraded to the latest SDK. I make sure to keep that world alive because that is my baby. That's the first creation I did in VRChat, and I don't want to have that lost in time. That's where I go when I record important videos for myself to like post on social medias or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that is like the fundamental me world, like big city, nice colors, rain, ambient music. It's what I want to be about, basically.
Of course. Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously going from all these different aesthetics and stuff. Well, back before I even say that, on behalf of Project Community, I want to thank you for doing the update to Swamp Island so we could use it for the HorrorCon trailer. Yeah, I mean, you're probably seeing a clip of it on the screen now, but yeah, this amazing being updated the world for us with light volume so we can make it work. Which it's funny because trying to find a swamp world that works nowadays is you were like one of the only two. So I was like, I wonder if I can get him to maybe put some light volumes in here so we can add some like fog stuff with our avatars and stuff, and it worked out perfectly. So thank you.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, no, obviously, kind of go back into the what I was going to say. So with like all the different aesthetics and stuff, using SketchUp to kind of piece things together, add lighting, all that type of stuff. You mentioned it was the SDK2. So one of the questions I want to ask you, going from like SDK2 era into SDK3 era, what were some of the benefits or maybe some of the challenges that you experienced as a world creator, kind of going from 2 to 3? Good answer.
Okay, I only had a good experience with the transition. I know a lot of creators was like they didn't make the transition, which is sad, but I get it. Like Udon is a lot more complicated than the SDK2 was ever capable of being. But I started from scratch, no experience in coding, just like brute forcing it. What does this do? What happens if I do that? Oh, it crashes. Or they change this. Oh, it crashes. Suddenly it works. Okay, I'm onto something here. There were no tutorials back there. There were barely documentation. Things were very fresh, like barely working. But that's when I started making the Laserdome prototype. And I felt like there is something happening here. Also, exactly during the time when the coronavirus put everyone on lockdown and you suddenly had, 5 extra hours a day to spare, so I had nothing better to do, and I started. I decided to learn how to code with Graph, and for me that was kind of life changing in a way. It led to so many opportunities for myself, and it also influenced a lot of other people in their lives, which is very important to me to see and experience.
100%. No, I mean, you do a very good job of it. So,
Thank you.
Of course. And obviously, with all these, this, kind of the more chill scenic worlds that you made, because you also, of course, yes, this the world side of things is going to be a long bit. I'm so sorry if you're not interested in worlds, but you should definitely check them out anyway. We'll put a VRC list link in the description with all the worlds.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, VRC list. We're not sponsored, but it is super helpful when it comes to people who've uploaded many worlds. Because obviously, while you have these worlds, you started to then, create all the music based worlds, with 2020, with procedural ambience, which obviously it's a lot different, compared to a lot of your other worlds. So what kind of made you want to, make a world like procedural ambience? Like what was kind of the process of making that world?
Oh, I think procedural ambience I made in between Laserdome 1 and Laserdome Neon City. And it was a way of coping with kind of burnout. Like, I felt overwhelmed and I just wanted to make something very simple, down to earth, very artsy. So I'm not sure exactly where everything came from, except for the laser harp, which is from Jean-Michel Jarre. He plays on the laser harp every now and then. So I was like, I can make that in VR, probably. Kinda. But yeah, no, that was like one of those worlds that I need a break and I'm gonna make something else, which is just for myself. And nobody can influence me when I have to do something else like that. But it's my home world still. That's where I spawn in VRChat every time I launch a game.
It's a good world to be spawned into, to say the least.
It's very nice.
Do you ever have just like the moment? Because obviously you made the world, so you know how everything works. Do you ever just have the moments like, "Ooh, I got to play with this one thing real quick," and then go whatever you need to do?
Yeah. Very many times I go in there and be like, "All right, I have a thing in like 5 minutes. I can be in here and just listen," because I love the procedurally generated music in there. Right, that's what it's about, and I can just stand there listening to I think it's like 12 different notes at most that just drops down, and drum machine kicks in suddenly and be like, yeah, this is a vibe. Okay, I have to go. Bam. It's a very grounding world for me. Like I feel like I'm stepping into VR when I'm in there. It's a good starting point.
No, for sure. And obviously kind of to, push down the timeline a little bit, because obviously after procedural ambience, you started, creating a lot more of your virtual concert worlds. Because if I remember correctly, it was about roughly 2 months after procedural ambience. This was back in 2020, mind you. But, in October, you did Virtual Concert 1. So was there any inspiration to kind of make these virtual concerts? Like, was there anybody or anything that kind of inspired you to do that?
Yes. We're going to return to Jean-Michel Jarre again, because he made a concert in VRChat, and I went to it, and I thought, I can do that, and I can make it better. So I did the first video-based concert, the one you're talking about now, and then next year he made another concert in VR, and I was like, this beats mine, but I can beat it again. I can make it better. And so I made the second concert, and then the third one didn't have that moment because he kind of stopped doing it, sadly, which I'm not sure why, but I guess, he moved on to another platform. Like, the guy is so old, and I respect him so much for, exploring new mediums to create in, and also using VR kind of justifies it for more people around me being like, oh, he made something in VR. That means it's a cool platform. And I'm like, hell yeah, it is. Look at that shit that I made. So, yeah. it was it's a lot easier to make a concert in VR as well because you have infinite budget, except for your own time. I don't have to pay for a stage. I don't have to pay for lighting or a whole team of people to follow me around. I can just do it myself.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need, camera people. You can put a camera system in. I mean, there's all sorts of amazing things, like the camera system we're using right now. So I don't have to have a camera person. I mean, it's made by this guy. Like, it's it's genuinely crazy what we as VR creators can do. Because like you said, a lot of this costs money, time to make IRL. Some of the big charity events that you see here in VR, you're talking thousands of hours of production and making things work. But here, it's all based in Unity, and it's just boom, there it is. It's a lot of bug fixing and testing, surely, but like you said, it's mainly time
that comes with it. Right. It's mainly time and then effort. So if you have an idea, there's nothing stopping you from like pursuing it or doing it, except your own limits of how much time and effort you want to put into it. And that's the thing. When I decide something for myself, I usually go all in on it and continue until I'm done. And nobody can tell me to do much otherwise, for good or worse. Sometimes I'm learning to listen more to other people's opinions as well, because I'm not the all-knowing guy. But usually when I have a vision, I want to stay on that path. I don't really care. I just want to do what I want. No,
of course. I mean, yeah, it for good or worse, as you said.
100%. Some of the best feedback I've gotten is from people in VRChat who knows how to tell me in a very stern voice, xCirrex, you're wrong. You have to do it this way. And I'm like, okay, thank you for the feedback. I will do it because you told me very strongly, instead of being like, maybe not that. I don't know what could be. I don't know.
More strict versus passive aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. Like telling, no, that's wrong. You have to do it another way because it's stupid otherwise. And I'm like, I don't want to be stupid. I'll listen to you.
No, for sure. And obviously, with the successes of each virtual concert, from the original one to Refulgent to Iridescence, each of them being their own unique experiences, which if you haven't checked out any of those, you need to. I'm telling you right now, like, hell, pause the video if you have to. Go check out at least one of them. Like, it's nuts. Like I've said this on previous episodes, because sometimes I do ask like what people recommend for very like new VRChat users to check out. My answer within the top 3 is always at least one of your concerts, because it's something that not a lot of people enjoy. Granted, they're PC only. Sorry, but I mean, there's videos out of it. Go watch the videos. But each one is a different era of not only your music but also your creative flow and how things progressed. Having a giant stand, like a stage that has moving parts, or one where you're just on a platform and it's more light fixtures, or with Iridescence where it's this, I guess it's an octagon ? But it's a 360, people can be around you and see each other from across the room while still enjoying your performance. It's definitely a crazy thing, to say the least, when it comes to that creative side. So I guess, out of curiosity, what kind of inspired you, for each of those worlds, what kind of inspired you to make those creative decisions?
Again, fever dreams, something I woke up with an idea. Sometimes it's just sitting down and making a model and being like, oh, this is kind of turning into a stage. I should make a concert. It could be either of those. None of those were like planned from the beginning, being like, I want to look like this and I want it to be this. It was, everything is just me exploring the SDKs and the technology that VRChat provides me with, and how far I can push them. The first was just a video player, and then lights triggered from the video player. The second one was when we got the MIDI system, and I had to trigger, like every time I did the concert, I had to run a MIDI sequence on my computer that I had to like physically activate and stream MIDI events into the network of VRChat to activate all the lights to the beat of the music, which was very stressful to do. And one of the devs saw it, Momo the monster, and I was like, can I please have it like baked into VRChat, the MIDI, so I can just play back the MIDI files in VRChat instead? And he was the one who made that a thing, and I think that was why I made the third concert as well, because I wanted to push that system now to its limit. How many lights can I have in here, and how tight can I have it to the music? And I think I'm probably a handful of people use the MIDI system. So, I'm happy it's still working. It did break for a few days in one of the SDKs now, but it got fixed after I screamed a little bit. The concerts is always just me trying to push my own limits, and also the VRChat as a technology limits. Like, how much can I fit in here in 30 minutes?
No, I mean, that's fair. I mean, and granted, as I said earlier, each one was a brand new thing throughout the years, which, and obviously with Iridescent specifically, using different camera functionalities with the whole, some of the animations, you're gonna like this is your spoiler warning. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it now. This is your spoiler warning. But, some of the camera things of like, being able to have the camera just pop up in front of like so many people, like have them be a part of the experience was really cool. And is probably like one of my top 3 favorite parts of that world.
Yeah, I love that part as well. It's so much fun.
It's so awkward when you're in there by yourself. So it's just you.
It's just your face.
It's just your face the entire time. But or it's just like 1 or 2 people, but like you get a whole group of like a full instance, and it's such a crazy experience. And not to mention like some of the animations that were made by Pikapidi, who we also had on the podcast. He still to this day loves the fact that that he got to work on it, because
dude, that was wild. Like, I asked him to do something, I didn't really know what I wanted, and I just said, no, just make frames and I would figure something out. But yeah, I ended up using his sprites for my real life concert as well last year. Put that on the screens, and it's fantastic. It's like bringing VR into the real life now with the real life concert as well. So it's really cool. I like it.
Absolutely, which is actually going to be the next big topic I was going to bring up. But before I do that,
of course,
because obviously with Iridescence, because that was, I believe that was the year where you actually won the Spirit of Rain Dance Award, if I recall correctly. So I guess from your personal experience, getting to perform at Rain Dance, and being a part of that, what was it like, from start to finish?
Rain Dance is very special to me because they never felt like they were based on like your following or how much you can like, you don't know who the judges are to begin with. Like, you don't know who to talk with to try to smooth talk people, which is great, because I think that shouldn't be the way anyway. And they leave the judging up to 2 people or 3 people who has experience in the same kind of thing. Either they won the award the year before, or they just came from a place of knowledge. So they just go in and experience everything. And Rain Dance is such a great place for like getting noticed, showing off new cool things in VR, and just following it for just seeing what's new and what's like pushing the edge of things is good enough. for it to exist for me. It's one of my favorite times of year to attend rain dance, and I've been a judge there now for 2 years. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but for the music experience, that it's always difficult as well to like decide, and you have to do like look at everything from every aspect. What's the technology? What's new? Is it live? Is it self-produced? You know, all of those things has to go together, and somehow 3 people have to like agree on one to win. It's very one of the most stressful things I can think of is doing that.
Oh, but, 100%. I believe it. A lot of amazing things.
But it's really fun. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. But yeah, no, congrats. Obviously, it's very late, obviously, but congrats on the Spirit of Rain Dance Award. 100%. When I found out that you had won it, I jumped up out of my seat. I was like, fucking deserved, fucking absolute cinema. Like
I didn't expect it either. Like, I thought I was competing for the music thing, and I was like, oh, I have no shot, whatever. I'm just enjoying the show. And then they did the one more thing.
And just like every year, we have our famous One More Thing, which is a very, very special award that's very, very dear to our hearts.
Spirit of Rain Dance, and you in the recordings you can like audibly hear me say, "Oh fuck,
oh fuck me."
When I realized it was me, I was like, oh shit, and then I have to go up there and like talk about it. Like I had no idea. I don't know what I was saying or anything, but yeah, it came as a surprise, and then I got the physical trophy in my room now. It means very much for me.
No, of course. And don't worry, we allow swearing. You're good. So,
that's good.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a crazy feat to have. Being a winner of Rain Dance, not as like a like a categorized one, but actually having the Spirit of Rain Dance Award, because it's a full embodiment of Rain Dance Immersive. And honestly, I think that means more than winning a category, in my personal opinion. But I mean, every single year the Spirit of Rain Dance Award given, there's no question, like, they deserve it.
100%. Yeah.
You included, but yeah, no,
thank you.
Yeah. But kind of to move on from the music side of things, the music worlds, because obviously, I wanted to bring up, well, not the music side of things, because that's going to be the next topic, but because obviously you performed both in VR as well as IRL. Publishing your sets on there. I mean, you've performed at, pretty big places like, Rain Dance Immersive for one. You've also performed at Ferality Umbra. You've also performed at like Vibe Tribe and Placeholder Club. And then you go into the more like IRL experiences like Nordic FuzzCon and Country Hack. And I know you've got a few more coming up here in the next couple of weeks and months. Yeah. So I guess out of curiosity, what is it like to, have, and this is coming from me personally, since I do both as well, from your personal takes, like, what is kind of your feelings when it comes to performing IRL versus performing in VR?
So it's gonna be weird. When I do it in VR, I do it in my home, which I'm very comfortable in my home, and usually the VR concerts nowadays are like always almost pre-recorded, pre-rendered, and you just trigger things to happen in the world at most. But nonetheless, they are very, very fun to do and like bring everyone together under one roof, right? The IRL things, I set a rule to me which would be nothing is pre-recorded except for when I play back my release songs in the end. But everything has to be on these hardware synths that I have strategically decided. These are the ones I'm going to work with them when I do live sets. And I prepare these for months before it's time, and I learn them inside out, every pattern. And I'm on stage, I'm very busy. I barely see the crowd sometimes. And especially at NFC, the last one I did at NFC, and I looked up a few times and was like, oh shit, there's actually people here that I kind of had forgotten because I was in the zone. but it's a whole different vibe to do it in real life for real, and hoping that your gear survived the trip, hoping that nothing like breaks when you're on stage. There is a lot of points of failure that can happen, and a lot of mistakes I do as well, but nobody knows that. So if I just ignore it myself, someone will go, "That was brilliant," when it's me pressing the wrong button, you know. Oh, that was so unexpected. How brilliant! But it's just me messing up, honestly. And you know, that's a part of it. That's the part of doing live music in that way. That you don't know what's going to happen at most times.
No, 100%. It's funny because when I was doing research, you had mentioned it's like jazz, you know. It's you have enough, you know, mistakes, and nobody's gonna know. They're just gonna think it's an improvisation or something like that, you know.
Yeah. Oh, dude, don't get me started on jazz. Oh my god, I try so hard to enjoy all the music in the world, but there's something about jazz that I just cannot understand, man. It's someone was like, "No, you know what? 4 on the floor, that's not for me. I'm gonna do whatever I want, and I'm gonna call it music." And they invented jazz. And to me, I know there is structure in it, but a lot of times there's just too much structure. I don't get it. And I say that listening to Venetian snares, okay? So I have no reason to shit on jazz players when I listen to that kind of music to calm down. So, you know, it's just too much for me, I think. I try to enjoy it, and sometimes I do enjoy it. But,
That's
you know,
fair.
there's limits. Yeah.
Yeah, so coming from somebody who plays jazz, that's fair. It's a fair analysis.
and that's what I did in music school as well. They taught us to do like improvisation and like learn a few jazz songs and all that. And sure, it's fun to play, but is it fun to go and listen to? That's my grift with, like, if I go to a jazz spot or whatever, it's cool for like an hour, but after that, when you heard the saxophone just play all the notes on the entire spectrum with no melody, no structure, you're and sorry, I'm hating on jazz players here. You know,
I'm taking that and making it a soundboard. I hope you realize that.
it's just too much for me, man. For more than an hour listening to that, I can't stand it. But give me breakbeat chorus in my headphones for 10 hours straight, no problem. It's just how we're wired, man. Something sounds good to some people and some people not to others. But I want to enjoy every kind of music. And I recently gotten more into metal, which I'm very proud of myself of.
Fair enough. Definitely a transition, to say the least.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously, you know, with all your performances that you've done, you know, not counting your virtual concerts, you know, obviously each performance has like its best moments, you know, or maybe not so good moments, but you know, we're not here to worry about those. As you said, happy little mistakes, or happy little accidents, as Bob Ross used to say.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously one of the questions I want to ask, you know, because you've done all these different performances, is there a particular performance for you that stands out among the rest, whether it be for a specific moment or specific crowd interaction? Like, is there a specific performance you have done, whether it's in VR or IRL, that in your heart kind of stands above the rest?
Oh yeah, the end of NFC, when I got everyone in the crowd to jump to Rymknulla Conny soundtrack. That's been like a dream, a vision in my head ever since I made this song. Like, one day I'm gonna stand in a club and everyone is gonna like dance and jump to it. And I stood there on the stage like, wait, hold on, this is the time. Now it's when I'm gonna do it. And I pick up the mic, everybody jump, screaming as loud as I can, and everyone started jumping, and I was like, holy shit, I can die happy. This is amazing. And now I'm more like, can I top that? You know, it was so cool, like the absolute dream come true. I'm playing at NFC as well this year in February, so look forward to that. It's not properly announced yet, but I am doing it in one shape or form. I don't care if if something get cancelled. I'm still doing it. Damn it! It's so much fun. One of the best places I've ever performed at, for sure.
No, fair. And obviously, you know, those crowd interaction moments are definitely like some of the highlights for a lot of performers. You know, whether it's IRL or in VR. You know, having people so immersed in your set, your performance, your music, it's life changing. You know, it's a whole step above.
And it's very difficult as well when you're not used to being on a stage, and you have to like put on a persona, being like, you are in control of this crowd now. You have to speak up. You have to use your voice, and you know, don't say anything stupid. So, yeah, no, there's a lot of things that falls into place, and again, it just happens. You have a thought, and you go, screw the filters, I'm doing it, and you know, those are the best kind of moments for me.
No, for sure. You know, it's definitely a crazy thing, to say the least, you know. Hello everyone, real quick, just want to pause the episode right here. I want to thank you all so much for watching this far. If you're interested in checking out some of the other content or staying up to date on all my other content, including the podcast, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out a lot. And speaking of that, we now officially have all of the merch here on YouTube, from Squad Forever Fest to DJ Noved to Noved Notes merch. All the merch is now here on YouTube, so you no longer have to go to the merch site itself. It's all directly here. But of course, if you want to learn more about VRChat and maybe attend some of the events that I hold, feel free to join the Noved Squad at noved.6608. We're trying to hit 1,500 by the end of the year. So make sure to join the Noved Squad and attend some of the events. There's some amazing stuff coming up, not only at the end of this year, but also in 2026. So make sure to stay tuned. But let's get back into the episode. Woo! And obviously there'll be some bits and pieces up on screen to kind of showcase some of these moments and stuff. But you know, it's definitely one thing to, because obviously, you know, performing in VR, you're kind of limited with how many people you have, you know, with 80, you know, maybe 100 if VRChat, you know, grants you an instance blow up. But with, you know, in real life performances, you have, you know, the only real limit is how many is allowed in the building. But, you know, and it's a huge game changer, you know, and obviously there's a lot of like stage fright and stuff when it comes to that. So I guess out of curiosity, you know, putting yourself in, because obviously, you know, with places like Virality and Placeholder and all the other places you performed in VR versus these, you know, conventions and IRL performances, you know, we talked a little bit about like, you know, the music side of things, but, you know, what is kind of like the mindset, like getting ready, you know, obviously the fails of, you know, or potential fails of the equipment for delivery and all that. But like, you know, as you walk up on stage, like what's kind of going through your mind when it comes to these performances?
I don't know. I like 2 hours or so, I tap into like a different part, which is like performance mode. Right now I have to do everything and I have to go on overdrive. I start sweating like a maniac. Like it's crazy. During the entire setup, sweating so much because you everything is on high alert. How you're standing, how you're talking, how you're pressing the buttons. You can see at the start of every live set I do, you can see my hands. I'm super shaky. There's so much adrenaline going through. I'm very stage frightened. Okay, like, it's crazy. But after a song or two, it goes away, and suddenly you're just there with your instruments, and you're very comfortable with it. And then you also have a crowd which is enjoying it. So there, you have a moment together. You have an hour together to have a lot of fun times and remember moments. So yeah, there is 2 hours before I tap in, put on my makeup, locking. Okay, go to the stage. It's time. Super scary, and then releasing, and then final of the concert, you get the final cheer, and you be like, all right, I can live on this for next year, for a year to come. It's very addictive as well to do it, to be fair. Which I do enjoy. I enjoy every aspect of it.
No, 100%. Actually, funny enough, one thing I did forget to mention when we were talking about the virtual world stuff, and I don't know if you use this in your IRL stuff too, but one of the instruments you have used in the past is one of the most rarest instruments out there when it comes to I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, so feel free to throw it out there if you already know what I'm talking about. But
the Polybox.
Yeah, the Polybox. So out of curiosity, how in the world did you get your hands on one? Like, what kind of led to that, and then you wanting to learn that instrument specifically?
It's a pretty fun story. I had recently, also during COVID, I bought my first hardware analog synth, which was the Moog Matriarch, big clunky thing, fantastic. At the same time, I can't remember exactly how I got into YouTube playlists, and there were these old Soviet analog synthesizer music, and I found one of them secondhand, went down half the country with my car, tested it out, be like, oh no, it's not really for me. And the guy was like, well, what about this one? And he brings out the Polybox, the one I bought. It sounded like shit, nothing was tuned, everything was kind of barely making a noise. And I looked up one video on YouTube from Heinbach about it, and I was like, holy shit, this thing is amazing. I need to get this working. Can you give it for me for a smaller price? Because obviously it's not working in its current form, right? And he agreed. I bought it. I spent 2 weeks tuning it, making sure it kind of made noise that I expected it to do. And it turned into be one of the most precious synths I have. It doesn't have a keybed. It's modded to have a what do you call it? Voltage control instead for many things, and MIDI mod on the back as well. So I can plug it into my Matriarch and play it, and then go back into the Matriarch and go through the Matriarch sound generation. So I can play both at the same time, which is absolutely dreamlike, the noise it makes. But it's very fragile. You touch it the wrong way and it goes out of tune. It's a very, very old piece of kit. I think it was made in 1982, my unit. And I recently got it serviced, and he said that the parts he changed out was original. So he gave them to me in a little plastic bag. Here's the original part for you. Put them in a casing or something. I was like, hell yeah.
Historical.
But yeah, I'm making sure that thing is gonna last for a long time. It has a little blanket over it when I'm not using it. I only use it when I have to use it. So it's very precious to me.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I mean, that to have a piece of equipment like that's from way back then is crazy nowadays, and it still works in great condition. It's like, dear God.
And it sounds so cool. Sounds so cool. I've never heard anything like it, what it can produce in sound wise. And I'm like, why do I have this thing? It's so cool. I love it.
No, fair. Well, obviously, kind of to move on from the music side of things, because obviously there's a lot to talk about. If you're not familiar with xCirrex's music, go to his Bandcamp. The link will be down in the description, and yeah, go check out his Bandcamp. Yeah. Well, okay, before I move on, because this is a funny one that you probably already know where I'm going. Because originally you did have music on other platforms, but due to how the platforms were, you made the decision to move to Bandcamp, rightfully so. The Find Me on Bandcamp song specifically. So I gotta ask, what kind of inspired you to not only make the song, but also the music video as well when it comes to that?
The song comes from my, working folder for my next album. So I just had the bass line and all that. Things happen with Spotify that I don't agree with, and I've always been kind of anti-streaming in general. But for the convenience of others, I put it up there and whatever. I took it down, and nobody can change my mind. I know it's unfair to some people, but my music is free on Bandcamp, and you can just put it in your offline list if you want it. Thank you. I'm not going back unless they change fundamentally how they treat artists and their, the space, the music space in general. So the song is just some work in progress song I have, and I just sang for the first time in my songs because suddenly one of my songs had a message in them. Like it couldn't be instrumental because it was supposed to mean something, right? I'm not a singer, but it's fun, and I might do it again in the future. Who knows? And then I just made the video. I recorded it in a third of the speed to like slowly mine every move and facial expression, and then sped it up and synced it up in like post. It's a very, very interesting filming style that I experimented with there, and I want to do a lot more with that kind of stuff once I have time to explore it more. It's really fun.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And obviously with all the different types of filming you've done, whether it be, for the music video, that I didn't have time to write the actual title of the song, but, you made that, you did the VR short film, and then this, experimenting with different filming styles, for different reasons, of course, but it definitely is crazy to say the least, but really, really cool in the long run. Okay, now moving on from music, I promise. I know technically we're already like over time, but this is going to be a longer episode. I was already full prepared that this is going to be a well-produced episode, so sorry, post-editor.
And I'm a yapper. I never stop yapping if you get to me.
It's all good. Obviously moving on from the music side of things, because we haven't even touched, what, the VR side, most of the VR side knows you for, which is the game worlds that you create. So I got to ask, what kind of inspired you, or maybe who kind of inspired you to create game worlds here in VRChat?
Back to the COVID pandemic again. I used to play a lot of Laserdome when I was a kid. I recreated the first Laserdome map from my memories of that arena with the fog, with the music, and I kind of just wanted to make it to enjoy it while I was in quarantine, right? And that blew up, and a community formed out of it. We started having tournaments, and that was never my my goal with it. I just want to shoot laser guns at people. But that's how things happen, right? You just do it because you enjoy making it, and sometimes other people will enjoy it as well. So I continued on, that it's a boost. I want to make more things with this medium now. I want to make more games. I want to learn more stuff and expand on it. And especially I want to make music for it, because making game music has been a long time dream for me. So I never had a gig in audio for other people's games. So I made my own games and made the soundtrack for it. Why not? If you want it done right, you do it yourself, or whatever the saying is. So, yeah, it's a combination of me wanting to make game music, and then I wanted to make games, and I made my own music for the games, and now I kind of don't know what I should do if I didn't do that for my hobby. It's one of the longest lasting hobbies I've ever had at this point. This whole VR shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, fair. With all the different worlds over the years, there's definitely a lot of crazy things. Laserdome obviously being one of the biggest, community ones out there when it comes to your community and VRChat community. And obviously going from Laserdome to Neon City Laserdome, as well as Laserdome 2, there's a lot unpack when it comes to Laserdome. Especially the Laserdome 2 side of things. With the map generation and pretty much everything that you did. Because obviously Laserdome 1, in comparison, was a lot more simplified to compare to what it is now. And obviously there's a lot of good moments. Go ahead.
I kept iterating on like rewriting stuff as I learned more things. And Laserdome 2, in its current form, I'm not happy with it, to be honest with you. The random generation map is a really cool piece of technology. Like, I managed to do it, hell yeah, go me. But it's not, you don't feel at home in the arena. Like, I am in the background very slowly working on a static map for Laserdome 2 as well, with that kind of gun mechanic and all that stuff. Because it doesn't speak to me like the original Laserdome map does, which, fair enough. It's the first one I did. It has a special part. But I think I can do that again, like make some cool-ass static map for the new gun systems. Yeah. So that's all it is. It's me learning new things, rewriting things from scratch, and just continuing to understand more and more of how Udon Graph, works. I don't know Sharp at all. Don't come at me.
But yeah, go all the different Udon types. It's bound to get mistaken at one point. So
yeah.
But with Laserdome being back in 2020 when it was first released, obviously like we talked about earlier, the pandemic and putting that creative mind to work. While being on lockdown and everything, it paid off. You had a giant community come together. You've held many different tournaments for it as well. And we'll get into those in a little bit. That's another subtopic of the game worlds, because there's a lot to talk about there too. But after the original Laserdome, that's when the next game came out, which was Fate of the Earbloss, which also has a pretty big community as well. I still have people to this day asking me to go play Fate of the Earbloss with them. So I mean, and obviously going from a shooter game like Laserdome to a more space style, it's not necessarily PvE, I guess technically, but it's hard to explain it, I guess, but
I would say it's PvE,
yeah,
or player versus me as the developer. I'd like to see it as
right. So what kind of inspired you to create Fate of the Earbloss? Like, what kind of made you want to go from a pew pew shooter game into a spaceship based game?
During one of my Christmases, I spent it with a friend in Sweden. I lived on Iceland at the time, I think. Oh no! Wait, hold on a second. No, I'm completely confused of the timeline. Wait, never mind. I don't know what started, but I played Faster Than Light a lot, and I was like, what would they do in those stations? Like, what are they? They stand there, but what do they actually do? I should try to make it in VR. And that's how it started. I made the base of the ship. I started making the fire because I thought the fire was going to be the most difficult part of the game to make, and it's still buggy. So it is. And then the ship took, shape. The enemies started coming in one by one. And from there, just snowball. It became a bigger project. I think I worked for it for like 9 months, like straight all in. And it was all just me wanting to know what they were doing in FTL when they were standing at the stations, And then we got the radio interactions between people because it's a social platform. It's something very special to me. I put so much work into it and like put my vision of what you would do on a spaceship in that kind of situation. And then my friend helped me to write the lore to like get all the why you're doing it together as well, which I can't thank him enough for. He's really great at that. But yeah, it's still a game people be like, oh, do we get more content to it soon? And I don't have any ideas. I don't have any drive for it. I think it's perfect in my head. I don't wanna poke around in things that I really am happy with how they are at the moment. But with that say, I am making another space game, but that's later. It's getting there, but I don't want to rush it, and I don't want to force work into it either. So be patient with me. Thank you.
No, of course. And you'll have to look at his Patreon just to learn a little bit more.
Yeah, my
Bam.
videos are for free there as well. Yeah, but you can support me. Wow.
But yeah, and obviously, with not going too far into details with the new stuff anyway. But obviously going from like, a game like Laserdome to a game like Fate of the Earbloss, to later down the line in the following year, you created Duo Beat, which is a fantastic rhythmic game. Pretty much Beat Saber but with guns.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of what made you want to create Duo Beat? Like, what was kind of the drive to go?
Oh, wow.
What was kind of the drive to go into that?
That was one of those other games. I was working on something, and then I was like, I want to make a rhythm game right now, and I just started doing it for a few months. I think I was working on Laserdome 2. Or maybe even the very mythical tower defense game that then became Laserdome 2. But it was one of those, like, I woke up one day and I want to make a rhythm game. I don't care. I'm just going to do it. So I made that. I have so many projects that were like that, were just like, suddenly I have to do this. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. I want to do this. Yeah, and Duo Beat was one of those games that was like really fun to make and play and to make all the mapping for. And then I got the Quest, and now I have latency in everything I do, so I can barely play Duo Beats. Well, I can, but it's harder. So I would like to make more sound packs for it, but I can't like test it properly with these controllers, so it becomes boring in a way, right? But maybe down the line. It's one of those games that I really enjoy playing myself. Oh, wait. No, damn it. I can't... I was working on Abbey Wars, I think, the Worm games. Worms.
Oh, yeah.
Worms game. Probably not. It was probably Laserdome 2, honestly. I don't know. I don't remember those kind of things.
Post that in and do a fact check. Put it down here. Put it do a fact check.
What's the timeline of games xCirrex made? I have no clue at this point. All of them kind of overlap each other at one point, right?
Right. Yeah, no, for real. It's because there's a lot at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a lot of projects. There's a lot of things going on up here as well. All the time. If my brain could shut up for 1 minute, I would be so happy.
I think you are right, though. I think it's Fate of the Earbloss, Abbey Wars, and then Duo Beat, if I recall correctly. I think you are correct.
Yeah, because after Abbey Wars, I started working on Laserdome, and in there I took a break to make the Duo Beat, and then Duo Beat, and then Laserdome.
Shame on previous me for not doing my research and not forgetting Abbey Wars and Lies, even though we mentioned it how many times.
Oh, yeah. No worries.
I'll take blame on that. I was in one of the tournaments. I should have known.
I barely remember I made Duo Beat sometimes, because I haven't played it in so long. Which is a shame. I should go and play it. Damn it.
There you go. Give you a reason to play it.
Yeah.
Remind you that you made it.
Maybe the latency has become better in the Steam Link and all that. Maybe it's playable again for me.
Yeah. But obviously, with Duo Beat, we'll go back into Abbey Wars since my goofy ass forgot Abbey Wars. But obviously with Duo Beat, it had a lot of things implemented into it when it came to making the game work and everything. So I guess, from a rhythmic perspective, and coding perspective, what were some of the struggles when making Duo Beat?
Yeah. First, I wanted to have it so that you shot the guns yourself. You had to trigger them themselves. But that didn't work not only because of the latency in VR and into VRChat, but also in Unity. There's like a few milliseconds noticeably delay of audio, and I'm going to destroy things for people who doesn't notice this yet. But when you do something and play a sound at the same time, it takes like a few microseconds before the sound plays. And that annoys me so much now that I know about it. There's no workaround. You have to like pre-warm the sound to play in a certain amount of seconds or whatever for it to be exactly on beat. And you can't do that when you want to trigger it on beat yourself. So I made it so that there's a MIDI system that shoots for you instead. You know, it's a tech solution, which is, I think it's really cool that you just have to like follow the progress of the song rather than actively shooting yourself.
No, I mean, fair. You know, and to be fair, I vaguely remember somebody, I don't know if it was you or somebody else had mentioned something similar. They didn't make a system though, but I do remember hearing about the microsecond delay. I'm like, that bugs me now. And I wonder how people are doing it to make it somewhat seamless for some people or for some worlds, but it's, sorry, viewer.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it, I think. But the easiest way to notice it is to play a world where things happen in the world and the sound plays perfectly in sync, versus if you can trigger a sound with your trigger on the input device. Because there's, first of all, a latency from your controller to the computer and then to your headset, and then Unity has its own delay for the audio as well. There is probably a solution to it. I just don't know it. I don't know what I'm doing half of the time. I'm just brute forcing things. Yeah, that's my creative workflow. Trying things until it works.
No, that's fair. Well, you know, obviously, kind of going back a little bit in the timeline. We love tracking errors. Totally haven't fixed like at least 2 of mine during the episode, but Can you find where it is? Put a timestamp down below. Anyway, but you know, obviously going back a little bit, you know, you also created Avi Wars as well, which was the first game of its kind when it comes to, you know, making a 2D perspective game into a 3D, you know, VR game that could also be viewed on a 2D screen too, which is crazy. So I guess out of curiosity, what kind of inspired you to make Avi Wars? Like, what was kind of the big motivator for that?
Just straight up Worms. Worms Armageddon, to be particular. I played that so much when I was younger, like in an incredible amount. And I was, again, woke up when how would that work if you were playing it in VR? And then I started working on it, made the generation map, like the procedural generated map, which is it's just a particle system at the end of the day. It's very weird, but it works. So, you know, I'm happy with it. Would I do it differently today? Probably not. I don't know another way to do it yet. I haven't figured that out. Once I figure that out, I will probably revisit a few things. Like with Laserdome, right? But in general, it was just Worms. But what would it be if you were the characters in the game, basically in a VR setting?
No, fair. I mean, there's so many amazing clips from your tournaments when it comes to that, and they're always such a like. I've also played Worms when I was younger, like a lot younger. I remember like way back in the day when I was like just a wee lad, the original Worms, even, and you know, my cousins and my aunt and uncle, they had a PC that had the original Worms on it. It was during a New Year's. I was a young kid. I didn't really care about, you know, New Year's and all that stuff. But they'd sit me down and be like, "Here you go, have fun," and I'd be like, "Okay," and I'd play for hours. Oh, no, it's New Year's. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to just rocket launch this worm across the map real quick. You know, and I didn't care about New Year's. You know, I was.
It's like, such a cool concept as well. The whole much. Worms games.
No, 100%. It's crazy, and I'll editor get to work and we'll put a highlight reel of some of the best moments of the tournaments. Get to work, but it's crazy what what people can do, not only in Worms but on Avi Wars. Like it's nuts. And you having some tournaments with Project Community as well, like getting to see all these communities go head to head and stuff. Whether it's Laserdome or Avi Wars, it's nuts. It's crazy what people.
It's a lot of fun.
100%.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Blood Ravens because they're probably the most consistent people that I've seen at tournaments all the time. But it's definitely crazy to think about. And obviously with your tournaments, kind of to move on a little bit, before I go into, obviously the more recent one you made, so with your tournaments, you've held Laserdome and Avi Wars, so I guess out of curiosity, and then there's one more, which I'll get into next, what exactly, made you want to do these tournaments? Like what kind of inspired the tournaments to come about?
The community actually did. The tournaments was not my initiative. It came from Rickety from the beginning, who said that he had run a few, and then Chris Canny came on as a commentator. Or if it was the other way around, I honestly can't remember. Those two at least were the people who like kicked off the entire tournament things, and then I just showed up like a dumbass trying to do commentating later as well when we started streaming, because there were a few tournaments that was just offline in the start. And then that grew, and we started making like these commentating booths and making the camera systems and making a big thing about it, which was just the community doing community things. It's a lot of fun stuff. I miss doing the the tournaments that often, but I'm so busy nowadays that I don't have time to plan them together myself. So whenever someone in the community comes up being like, I want to host a tournament, I'm like, I'm 100% with you. Let's do it this date. Bam. The tournaments are community driven. I give full credit to Chris, Max Ingster, and everyone else who helped do the groundwork of the tournaments and the how they work and the structure and all that. I just make the games and show up and scream for 3 hours when we do run them, which is a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
No, fair. And, sometimes making Riz sound effects while looking into the camera.
Oh, yeah. I'm having fun. That's what it's about.
Of course. As a old xCirrex once says, content.
Oh, yeah. As if.
Oh, man. But, yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely crazy, all the different tournaments you've had, featuring many different players, many different teams, games, all that sort of stuff. Which actually, funnily enough, while you've had these tournaments, you also recently held the xCirrex Olympics. So, out of curiosity, what was that like? Having multiple games in a gauntlet-style tournament.
Again, a community member had the idea. So we decided to just do it and have fun with it, see how it went. And it went pretty well. I want to do that again, but again, I just need to find the time for it. Like, I'm so busy with other projects right now, which is a shame sometimes, but also I'm enjoying everything that I'm doing all the time. If I'm not enjoying it, I will do something else. And that's just how I work as a creator in VRChat and also in real life. But yeah, no, the gauntlet style of just playing all of the games, the single player ones as well, that was a lot of fun. I can't really remember how we determined who won, but someone won apparently. So that's good. We had a winner.
Yeah, we'll throw it up on the screen. It's probably in the Discord somewhere. We'll throw it up on the screen. Fuck it.
Yeah, I should also mention there was Flan's idea to make the Olympics game mode or tournament style. So a big shout out to them as well.
No, fair.
And if I do that, like I mentioned 3 of the community members, or 4, 5, damn it, everyone in the community makes these things possible together. Like there's no there's nobody who is not part of it in the end, which is, you know, how it works. If the community isn't in on it, it doesn't work. So I can only thank them for enjoying playing in the games and playing in the tournaments.
No, of course. You know, because obviously it takes the community to make things happen at the end of the day, right? You know, you can make stuff by yourself all the time, but to have that sense of community and backing from your community, it's a game changer at the end of the day. You know, it means more.
It definitely elevates what the game can and are and is. But for me, I just happy I managed to press publish on whatever I made. And that's victory for me. And then what happens after that? People start playing it and like enjoying it. That's a bonus, right?
No, for sure. You know, what kind of to push past. Yeah, I know this is probably you might have my longest episode to date. You may have beaten Lund for my longest episode to date. But but that's okay. I'm enjoying this. This is a blast. It doesn't feel like how long. I'm looking at the time frames for all the clips. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be fun to edit. Sorry, post me. It's fun, but you know, moving on down the timeline, of course, you know, you've also created your newest one that's released to the to the public. You know, unlimited ammo shoots really fast, or you know, the USARF or UASRF. Wow, my brain is my brain's mush now.
You got it.
But you know, so obviously, you know, what kind of brought about, you know, the UASRF?
Again, from a old memory childhood game called MDK. If you know, you know. It's a fantastic game. Absolutely crazy. They were pushing the FPS kind of genre forward. But back then there were no rules. There were nothing telling you what was wrong or right. So the game is just really janky. But it knows it's janky. It knows it's all out there, right? That's what the game is about. So I felt that I needed a project that didn't have any rules, that I could just make whatever I wanted in the moment and add whatever I wanted in the moment. By the time I started working on that game, I had been working on the next space game for half a year or something. And I just needed to do something else. So I made that. How long did it take? Like 4 months or something? Which was a blast. It's one of the funniest games that I've had to work on, because I had no rules set on myself either. Like, I could just do whatever in that game. So yeah, they old school games, but try to make them VRified. That's seems to be a theme here.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you could take a lot of the VRChat game worlds and do the same concept with, you know, zombie survival being one.
For sure.
I mean, there's a ton. there's literally a ton.
The VR medium is so special, and I think we are still just experimenting what's capable of being done in here in terms of games. And there's no set rules either. Like, everyone has their own system for changing weapon or grabbing things or interacting with the world. Everyone has their own ways of doing that, and there's no set standard yet. And I really enjoy being part of exploring how to make games and how to play games in VR. And VRChat is such a good platform for it as well. Because again, the player base is already solved. Like, you can just take someone into your creation the next day and be like, this is what I made. What do you think? Blah, 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 blah. You don't have to make an entire operating system for the game to work. You know, or game engine, I should say. Depending on how far back in time you go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely crazy to think of, to say the least. You know, when it comes to the infinite possibilities, when it comes to the creative sphere of VRChat, and how everybody does, like, people, you know, like you said earlier, you know, people could have a similar mechanic, but it's all done differently, and it's they have their own unique take on how a thing is done.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. If remembering back in the SDK2 era to now, tenfold when it comes to what we can do here inside of VRChat using Unity. But yeah,
and there are so many creative people in VRChat as well. Like, I can't get over how this has to be the most creative platform that I've ever experienced myself. Like, everyone you meet have some kind of creative mind to them. They have their expression of who they are. They puppeteer their own avatars, as I like to call it. Like, I'm puppeteering this character when I'm in VR. That's how I view myself in it. But we all have our way to express ourselves in here, and it's such a creative platform in that way. And then some people elevate it and make things for the platform as well. Oh, dude, I love VR. I love it so much, and I want to be part of it forever. Thank you.
I think everybody would appreciate you being around forever if it's possible. So,
oh yeah, if I'm allowed, I will.
Right. Oh man, dude, it's crazy, and I guess kind of one of the last things I'll touch base on, because obviously we are way behind, we are way over schedule. But like I said, it's fine. Deal with it. It's the first month. It's the first episode back within a month. It's gotta be a good one.
I feel also over the time of the episode, you can hear my visual or my, again, as I was gonna say, my speech deteriorating because I've been talking for so long now, and I'm not used to speaking about these kind of topics for that long of time. English is not my first language, so if I have rambled, that's just what it's gonna be. I'm sorry. That's how I am.
No, it's all good. Well, I guess one of the questions, or one of the last topics I'll touch into, because obviously I have to thank you again for allowing me to use this world specifically for the Noved Notes. Allegedly there was a plan to have my own studio, but because of my own busyness and doing my stuff and project community and all that, I just never got the chance. So it's like, but we haven't even touched base on the xCirrex pub yet. So obviously with it being your pub, what kind of made you want to create this world in the first place? Like, what was kind of the inspiration?
When did this start and why?
So this was in January of 24.
Yeah. I can't remember what prompted me to start on this world, except that I kind of just wanted a new, more optimized hub to do the tournaments, interactions, or starting in, instead of Neon City, because Neon City is very performance heavy. Well, so is this world nowadays, I guess. But having like a stage to start with, and putting all the community things in one place, like this is the xCirrex community kind of meeting point or whatever. Having all the pictures, having the rain dance trophy, having the tournaments going on the video screens when they are working. They're not working right now. Obligatory drinking game, the shooting range, shield spot, the podcast area. Yeah, it's I really can't remember exactly why it started, but I'm very happy I made it.
Yeah, I mean, fair. I mean, it's a good, community hub at the end of the day. It's a nice place to reminisce. I mean, like you said, you got all the little games. You have the laser dome shooting range. You have the one over there that I could never remember the name of. Shield spot, I believe.
Oh yeah, that one. I forgot I made that game, the board game.
Yeah.
And then we have the buckshot roulette downstairs.
Yeah, downstairs.
As well.
Yeah, you make so many things you start to forget what you've made.
And a lot of it is just like a few weeks, like just doing something to keep my mind off other things, right? It's I really love doing these kind of things, just making things with no rules on me. It's such a good freedom to have when you have my daily job, when you have to listen to others all the time.
No, that's fair. But yeah, man, dude, xCirrex, this has been an absolute blast. having you on the podcast and, getting to talk about all your stuff. This is a blast. I'm glad to have you on finally after 84 episodes.
It was super fun. Yeah. I rarely do interviews like these. I don't know why, but it's funny. I like doing them. I like when people also dig into my history of things. I was not expecting that. It's really fun. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I figured.
Now I have to explain myself.
I mean, watching, as part of the research, I did watch some of your other interviews and stuff with Metaverse DGen and Rain Dance with Fangs. I was like, what's some things that they didn't touch on that I know about that I could maybe push out of them?
Yeah.
Gotta pull the inner Nardwar out.
Yeah.
There you go. You get a month hiatus from the podcast and you go full out on the first episode back. That's not going to happen often. I still want to hit 100 by the 2-year anniversary, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
You have a lot of things to talk about then.
Yeah. No, I mean, February will be the 2-year anniversary.
You can do it. Well, it's like 15 episodes? 15?
85 episodes so far.
Yeah.
Roughly 15 more. Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah. We'll make it work. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on. Before we do end things off,
thank you for having me.
Of course. I do want to give you a spot to, tell the people where they can find you, any links, if any, because I know that was a thing with your stuff. But if you want to tell them where they can find you, all that type of stuff. But yeah, if I can hit the button, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm even scared of saying my Discord server out loud nowadays because of the, transcripts that are made on videos. I get a lot of bots joining the Discord, and I want to keep it a safe place. If you want to join it, you can find it in my words on all the posters. There's a link in there. You just type it in, and then you answer a little question, seeing why you're there and where you got the link from. Simple as that. Otherwise, you can find my stuff in VRChat, of course, just by searching my name, xCirrex. You can find my music on Bandcamp. It's free or pay what you want. I believe music should always be free. And you can find me at some convention when I'm playing my live shows, which I'm very excited about. Yeah. Go wild, have fun, play hard, enjoy time. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, he also does have a VRChat group as well for xCirrex Media. So you can also check
which
that out.
I never remember.
Well. Yeah,
it's Pew something. Hold on, I should have this memorized in my head all the time. Yeah.
Open your quick menu.
It
and
is
look up.
Pew.4213, and in there is also a link to the Discord.
There you go. That's how you'll find it. So the links for the Bandcamp and the VRChat group will be down in the description because those are usually safe. But if you want to find any other links, join the group, all that stuff. You'll go to his worlds, go explore his worlds, go explore his concert worlds. They're great. But yeah, I think that's everything. So ladies, gentlemen, everybody inside and outside the ballpark, that has been it for episode 85 of the Noved Notes podcast. We are so back. But I want to thank you all so much for watching, listening, depending on what platform you're on. Comment down below. Ooh, I know exactly what I'm going to say. Comment down below, what is your favorite xCirrex track? Go to his Bandcamp, listen to some of his music, comment down below some of your favorite music. And if you're more of a VRChat world type of person, what's your favorite xCirrex world? Or which game of his is your favorite? So I'll give you 2 questions since we've been on hiatus for a while. Comment down below both of those things.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I want to thank you all once again for watching or listening, depending on which of the 10 platforms you're on. And of course, if you're coming back to check out some of the other episodes, why not hit that subscribe button? You're already coming back anyway. But with that, I think I nailed the outro. I might be missing something. Post editor will figure it out later. But I want to thank you all one last time. And of course, yeah, Nope, I lost it. Thanks for watching. I'll see
Bye.
you in the next episode. That's the outro. Take care and
Yeah.
peace.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Noved Notes.